Hey guys, we're the Jersey Comic Crew. In today's video, we're going to talk about The Boys Season 2, Episode 8, the finale. Yes, the finale of Season 2 is here. Stay tuned for more.
Hey guys, Chris and Rob here of the Jersey Comic Crew, and we're going to jump right into The Boys finale. Too much stuff happened, not enough time to talk about it. We want to get it all in, so let's just go.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it again, best episode I've seen yet.
It seems to be a trend with you saying
it seems to be a trend, and every week it seems to be saying the same thing. But yeah, man, it's wow, that was a lot.
I think I have to agree with you. This is the best episode of the season.
How many times did you slap your face like Home Alone style? I was red-cheeked by the end of it. That's not very easy for me.
I did it so bad, I knocked off all my beard hair. This is actually a wig. This is fake beard
You
hair.
slapped off one side of it.
I slapped it all off, and like I had to glue it back on. It's all... But dude, let's just get right into it. Like, I want to talk about Maeve.
Maeve
came back hard this episode, and like, I'm so happy she finally stood up for herself. They come to Maeve to try to get some help earlier on, and Maeve was like, you know what?
Spoilers.
Yes, spoiler alert.
Massive spoiler alert for the whole thing.
Hughie and Starlight come to Maeve and says, hey, we need your help. You know, shit's going down. We know you're anti-Homelander. Come work with us. And Maeve is just still in this depressive funk because, you know, her lover left her. You know, she feels like everything's against her.
Elena.
She tells him to go fuck off. But then she comes back. She comes back when we needed her the most.
The way she tells it, too, is... it's the one sexual innuendo joke I was actually like, oh.
What was it? I don't remember.
Where she keeps calling Hughie a twink.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh man, I'd split you poor boy like that poor boy like firewood or something. Or like, I was like, ow.
Starlight, like, get your twink and get out of here. Like, oh my God.
I was like, oh, that's real. That's some deep-seated anger there.
We saw,
but yeah, she definitely came back in a big bad way. I was very excited. I don't want to touch upon her ending part just yet because I want it to be a little bit.
Want to savor the moments, savor
it.
Okay.
But yeah, that first part, I thought there was no way she was gonna like come through. I thought it was like, all right, that's because what we've seen of Maeve is kind of like not much. So I was like, oh, she's just gonna not do it like she kind of has the whole season.
Well, this is pretty cool. Let's talk about the church. You know, last episode I was concerned about the church being maybe the big bad in next season. I don't think that's going to be the case in this anymore. We get a lot of information with the church this episode. The church tells the Deep that he's back in the 7, right? You know, and they don't want essentially A-Train to come back because of Stormfront's feelings. And A-Train puts it two to two together, realizes that she's a racist, goes into the archive room, finds out that she is a Nazi, gives the file with all that information to Starlight and Hughie in the car. They almost have a car accident. I thought. What
does he say to them? Like, "What's up, shit breath" or whatever?
Yeah, what's up, shit bags or something like that.
he just blips in, and I was like, "Whoa!"
By the way, how cool! You never think of that for a speedster, just running into a car like that. I'm sure I've seen that in some comic, but it just doesn't dawn on me. And I thought it was a cool use of a speedster. Running into a car and just handing them the envelope.
That was awesome.
But, you know, now they have the information. Afterwards, we get a little bit more with the church because of events that we're going to touch upon a little bit. They need to get A-Train in and not the Deep. The Deep has a hissy fit, leaves again. And I got to spoil this right now because we got to finish this church thing. The church leader dies. His head explodes.
What?
We find out who that is.
We're talking about this now?
I want to talk about it now.
Why are you ruining this is the whole thing. No one's going to watch anything after this.
Fine. You don't know who it is. You already see it. But anyway, it seems like the church kind of like everything I wanted from the church happened in this episode. So I don't really foresee them moving forward with anything, especially the leader of the church is gone. We know Edgar, the head of Vault, was just working with the church like as a friendship. He wasn't running the church. So unless there's
Stan?
What'd I say?
Edgar?
Yeah, Stan Edgar.
Oh, Stan Edgar. That's right. He has two first names.
He has two first names. Stan Edgar.
Yes.
Mr. Edgar, I should have said. So unless they have a new leader in the church rise up, I think we're done with the church for now. And, I'm fine with that, but we'll see. What do you think about the
Maybe?
church in this episode before we get to the fun stuff?
I think there's a lot of avenues.
Mm-hmm.
I think with the discussion with Stan in the beginning, it made it seem like Stan was like the head, almost like the overlord of the church, like the Emperor to Vader in Vought.
Yes.
And I think also
that could be it.
Now that the Deep is not going to be a part of the Seven again after he did everything and he like has his like flip out moment.
Yeah, he gave all the money to the church too.
Yeah, and he's like, fuck Fresco. Which is amazing. And A-Train's back in with that, almost basically saying A-Train kind of disobeyed the church or took that extra step of initiative against Vought, and that's what the church wanted. I don't think the church is gone. I think it's going to be a little like Hydra, where like one head gets blown up and another head comes out of it. I don't think the Deep is going to be the head of the church because I don't think he's smart enough. No. But we'll see. I think it's an avenue that isn't completely done yet, even though it's an avenue that isn't really in the comic books.
So I want to talk a little bit more about the Sun and Becca, right? The Sun was taken away by Homelander and Stormfront. Becca meets up with the boys. And they want to get the boy back. This forces Billy Butcher to make a deal with Mr. Edgar, Stan Edgar, saying, hey, just direct me where to go. I'll find him, and then I'll call you. You get the boy. Take the boy away from Becca, so that way we know he's safe and Homelander never gets it. To me, when I heard that, I didn't believe it for a second. I knew he was going to save the boy. I knew he was going to be with Becca because it was too on brand.
No, I don't even... I mean, Billy is very brand, right? Like, he's douchey. He's Captain Britain mixed with Punisher, right?
But when it comes to Becca, he's going to be a pushover. So the second he gets that kid and he knows that Becca wants it, I knew there was going to be like a double cross of some kind.
I mean, yeah, there's going to be a double cross of some kind, but I like that they pushed Billy into making the hero's decision.
Yes,
where he hasn't done anything like this the entire time, and because of Becca and, that's his wife and that's the one he's been fighting to get to this whole time, you have this scenario where it's like, yeah, we know he wants all the Supes dead. We know they're all terrible people, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to turn into terrible people. Mm-hmm. So the aspect of putting those personal feelings aside, as well as like, go with MM and get the hell out of here. You can't be with me. You can't stay with me. They're going to hunt me forever, and you're never going to be safe. Like, that the hero's decision, I thought, was played very well in Billy's case.
I liked it. We did see the boys kind of do like their attack, right? Their final assault on Homelander and Stormfront to get the kid away. With Vought Tech, they set up essentially a tower of Bluetooth speakers that were able to eliminate a high-pitched noise that alerted them to. They were able to fly away, gave Billy enough time to get in there, grab the kid, call Vought, and go, right? And that's where we see... Well, Chris was saying he puts the kid with MM to try to get away. Vought soldiers come to the house. Homelander's not happy. Starts burning and destroying them because he wants his son back.
Dude, he split the one dude in half like a tree.
What I liked, and I think the crux of this episode and the crux of this season was the confrontation with Stormfront.
Absolutely.
Stormfront comes down, confronts, the boys and the gang, wants to get the boy back. We see finally Kimiko standing up to her. And I thought this was when we were going to get Kimiko to speak. Because there was a pause when she smiled. But...
She laughed.
Right?
We heard her laugh.
We did hear the laugh. Then she goes and fights Stormfront. Gets beat. Starlight comes in, fights. So the two of them are fighting Stormfront, back and forth.
Starlight's bad at fighting, by the way.
I thought she'd be so much better.
So bad. She's terrible. She gets her ass kicked.
Here's a question. Starlight's powers uses electricity, right? Like energy. I thought she would be perfect counter to Stormfront. I thought she'd be able to use the energy, one hand, and kind of like, do the dance at the other, and then have it come out.
I thought she was going to be able to Bishop that shit.
There you go. Oh.
Where, like, Bishop and X-Men absorbs energy and, like, is like, here you go.
Or, a little bit more decent.
Like, Zuko, Return to Sender.
Avatar Zuko.
Avatar. Oh, with the.
I thought he was gonna. Well, let me.
Oh, that'd have been great.
He would have been.
I raise you one more. Wobbuffet.
Oh, the miracle!
Wobbuffet. Burn.
Anyway, our cameras break. I thought we were gonna get some miracle action. We did not. But Queen Maeve comes in and girls get it done. They knock her out. They destroy her. The guys are just standing there helpless because they can't shoot anything.
Dude, it was amazing.
Dude, that fight scene was great.
Curb stomp, American History X style. Fun fact, in the comics, the boys actually do that to Stormfront, who in the comics is also male. So the stomp out, like, beat up scene is in the comic book. They just switched it all because it obviously makes more sense that the girls are there and all the girls there had superpowers. And the boys would have been, like, we saw, like, them shooting bullets that did nothing, right? Like, they're just like, oh, what do we do? So the girls just, like, took it in their own hands and they're doom, 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 and just stomping her out. So that was awesome. And a great comic kind of mirror parallel.
I thought Frenchie's line was fantastic when he did the girls really do get it done. He's standing. He's so proud. He's so proud of his girls. He's like, yeah, the girls get it done, man.
These girls do get it done.
But the best.
I love Frenchie.
When they leave, and then we get the big confrontation. You know, Becca's with her son. They're running out. Stormfront lands in front of them. Stormfront is choking Becca out. I'm like, okay, this is where the boy's gonna lose it. He's gonna get control. He's going to just knock out Stormfront. Like, what's going to happen? We see him use his laser vision and blast. My heart sank because I knew immediately that the mom was dead. I knew.
So, yeah, I knew Becca was dying at the beginning of this season.
Is that because of your knowledge from the comics or just foreshadowing?
No, I knew there was no way she was surviving this whole season because the second you introduce her, she is a peril character, right? Like, Homelander has his, meaning, like, Homelander already has his grip on her. She's trapped human being. You know, what happens when you corner a rat? It's going to do whatever it can to get out of it. And she was a human being that was just trapped in this life, this fake kind of, like we said, Truman Show town. The kid is in this kind of lockdown, bought town so they could control everything that he does. And she's not with Billy. Homelander's just showing up randomly, doing whatever he wants, and there's nothing she can do to stop it. So I knew that she was going to have to fight back some way. Like, we see her escaping, and I knew she was going to die.
To add on what you were saying, right? With her being a peril character, it makes a lot of sense because when you think of Billy the Butcher in the aspects of Batman, guys, right? Many writers believe that Batman isn't allowed to be happy because then he wouldn't be Batman anymore, right? You see that with villains saying that. That's why the whole Selena and Bruce thing's taken forever to get done, right? So if you allow Becca to live, that gives Butcher the chance to be happy. And Butcher, as we know him so far, is this tormented soul that wants revenge for what Supes have done to his family, right? And now that Becca is alive, that almost destroys his purpose, right? He's like, oh, she's alive, I'm okay. If she would have lived the scenario, Butcher might have lost that fire. But we do see...
Yes and no. I mean,
you don't think so?
I think if he got her out and she still wasn't able to be with him, you still have the same Billy.
No, I'm saying, like, let's say she got out and she's just with them and she's just riding around with the boys. Like, they have...
Then you're still worried about her dying because of the type of life that man lives. Like, you know, like, talk about being on the edge. And I don't know. I just feel like Billy somehow is this tortured human being, not just with everything happening to him, but within his own self. So very much like Bruce Wayne and Punisher too, right? Like, he kind of has that Frank Castle mentality of, like, horrible things happen. Like, you know, looking at Huey to Butcher, Huey is one even worse day than he's already had away. Yeah. Right? Or Frenchie's even one terrible more day, or MM one really bad day for becoming Butcher. And that's what I think the kind of basis undertone is for them.
So let me get your perspective and your opinion on the scene after we find out that she was dying. We see Billy's holding her, and, you know, Homelander comes in. You know, what do you think of that whole scene?
Amazing scene. Also, Billy, to me, was totally going to kill the kid in that moment.
You think Billy was going to kill the kid?
I think in a weird turn, Homelander's landing there stopped Billy from killing the kid. Because before Homelander lands... Billy goes to get that crowbar, and Becca's, like, bleeding out her neck, and he turns to the kid, like, and you see that kind of very comic booky, crazed Billy Butcher face he has on when he turns, like mangled, angry, rage filled. And I thought he was gonna kill the kid, and Homelander landing there kind of, I would say,
you think?
Yeah, like redirected his focus, or basically hit home of what Becca said to him.
Who the real villain is, kind of deal.
Who the real villain is, and he's good, and you have to promise me, and that's why Billy says I made a promise. And I also think screwing over Homelander in any way, including his own kid, means more to him than killing the kid.
I gotta say, before we get into, before you talk a little bit more about the Homelander and Billy aspect, Stormfront on the floor just spouting off German, and like in a dazed method was very creepy, and they did that very well. I wanted to applaud them and highlight that in case you missed it. It's definitely something to watch again, because you definitely got the creepy Nazi vibe from her. If you ever doubted it at all before, that moment right there solidified any reservations that you may or may not have that she was a monster.
And they also translated it too.
Did they?
Yeah, it was translated by one of the showrunners from season 2, and the basis of it is she's kind of talking to her husband, the
really?
Vought, who invented Vought Corporation, and basically respouting the stuff that he was telling her about when she became a superhero. So she kind of like, losing her mind and body limbs and everything. She's a husk of a human being on the ground. Was kind of just, that memory was the one sticking in her head, and she may not be dead, by the way.
I don't know if she's dead. Like, they left her there, didn't they?
This is a show for me personally where if you don't see the death happen, the door's open.
Like you said before with with Black Noir. Like, I thought he was dead, but he's in a coma. So Black Noir is still alive, so he's probably going to be coming back.
And we didn't see him in the last episode, but we know that now. We were told, right?
We were told that.
We didn't see Stormfront actually die.
Nope.
We saw her mangled, which brings me up to 2 questions, which I want to ask you.
Yeah.
Question number 1 is, so I know the kid, he just had his powers kind of unleashed, right? He saw his mom being choked to death, and boom, all this anger and frustration and confusion kind of just erupted from his face. But the aspect of, you had Homelander like lasering her tits in like 3 episodes before. And she was kind of like, we saw it was hurting her, but it wasn't that. To me, I think there needs to be some type of explanation of, how did Homelander at full strength, at full adult strength, not do that to her, but this kid did?
I think you're getting too hung up on the lasering of the tits. The lasering of the tits was done.
Am I? Is that what I'm hung up on?
You are. It was done in a sexy way to like hurt her but not kill her. He could have killed her if he wanted to. Just like
maybe
if you have rough sex out there and like you're choking your significant other, obviously you could keep going and kill the person, right? Like, you hold back.
Rob's like, I think about it all the time.
Like, I just want to choke Chris when we're together. I mean, what? I mean, jokes aside, no, seriously though, like, that was done in a method for sexual pleasure, right?
Yes,
it was done to pain, but to hold back. I don't think he was doing it to laser off her tits.
But she also did the thing where she was like, stop messing around and laser me.
Yeah, that's just so they can have rough superhero sex.
Agreed, but like, and the kid, even, we saw how strong this kid is though, because he pushed Homelander down. Like, we've never seen Homelander sit down, right? Like, every shot you see of Homelander is standing, is like abrupt. Like, we see him sit down on like the couch and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, but we only see him sit down when he's allowed to be vulnerable, which I think is a point of the show, right? Like, he has to be, hands on hips and I'm here. But the kid pushed him down when he got angry.
Yeah, because that's...
So we don't know the potential of this kid's powers yet, which I think is also going to be scary for the future.
I don't think the kid's stronger than Homelander. I think the kid is making Homelander vulnerable, because obviously Homelander has a big attachment to the kid. He's not going to lash out the kid because that's his future. Homelander wants to be loved at his core, and that's why he stopped.
That's all he cares about.
Right?
That's all he cares about.
So,
well, he also doesn't really care about the kid, right?
No,
Because when he lands it, no, when he's talking to Butcher and the kid's behind him, and he's like, "Come here, kid, stand here." He does this thing where he's like, "What, are you gonna protect the little shit now? He's not even your kid."
Yeah.
You know, I don't think Homelander cares about the kid. I think Homelander cares only if the kid loves him.
Yes, that's.
I don't think he actually cares about it, but that's different. That's not
true, but that's still enough for him to
not kill someone.
Yeah, not kill someone, right? Like, you know, the fact that like the kid pushed him down, he was shocked. He was like, "Oh wow, the kid has powers." He didn't realize how strong he was, so of course he get taken back. I mean, if you're playing with like a 10-year-old and you don't think how strong they are, and you're like chilling and he pushes you over, you're like, is a 10-year-old stronger than you? No, you had your guard down because it's a 10-year-old that you care about. So I think it's the same way.
Okay.
But this also feeds into the ultimatum, right? The only reason this stopped was Queen Maeve came in. Queen Maeve came in and talked to Homelander and says, if you kill them, that's fine, but I'm going to let the world know that you are a killer. I'm going to show people this footage that I have here. Pretty much putting Homelander on check. And, you know, it works because at the core, Homelander is a twisted individual who needs the support and constant appraisal of others. We saw that earlier on when people started to hate him. That's the only reason he reached out to Stormfront in the beginning. So Homelander's own ego was his undoing in this season and throughout the whole show. And that kind of leaves us in this post-season 2 world where Starlight's back on the 7. So is A-Train. So is Queen Maeve, who all know how twisted Homelander is.
He's losing it, man.
We still have a spot for some new members of the 7. And Black Noir is a vegetable. Right?
or an almond.
Or an almond, whatever.
With a little coconut.
I see what you did there. Because he's allergic to almonds, guys, and almonds don't move just like vegetables. It works.
Guy's a nut.
And he's a nut because he's crazy.
I'm here all week, dad jokes.
Multiple levels of success. I am so proud of you. I really appreciate that. I think people at home do as well. Anyway, so.
He's a shell of a human being.
This leads us to the end, which I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
We figure out who was the one exploding all the heads. Congressman Victoria Newman. My mind blew. All of our minds exploded. That was fantastic.
It was so brilliant.
I was like, that she played everybody.
Well, you know what it is too? It's the whole. So we had to figure this out in this episode.
I didn't think they were going to show us this episode.
Well, but with everything else going on, they take you down this path, like going left, so you don't even think about it, right? Because you just saw the Stormfront fight, you saw Homelander, you saw Becca dying, cars flipping, Sonic booming, explosions, and, people dying. The kid, is he going to die? Is he going to live? What's Homelander going to do? So you're not even thinking about the head explosion. You're not even... even close to thinking about it, and then they take you back, and it's like, oh wait, we still haven't done anything with this. It's brilliant.
What's her reasoning? Is it for political gain to be president? Is that really what it is?
I think it's two things. I think, and we saw her like connecting the dots. She killed the what's his face from the collective, the head of the church collective, Antonio Banderas type, and. After he was like, yeah, we can make a deal, like, as long as you take some of these taxes away.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, you 1%er mothers. And, yeah, so I think one is definitely political gain, because we saw the boys also kind of go their separate ways, right? And, which I think even the bigger part is
how was that MM saw his family again? I was so happy.
That was great. And I think it's going to end in tragedy, but...
Yeah, is Hugh's dad's alive still, right?
Huey's dad's alive, but he doesn't. I think he stays away from him to keep him safe, almost.
Makes sense.
And he also doesn't want to be like his dad, because he's like, my dad, like my mom died, and my dad became the shell of a human being, whatever. So, but yeah, we see the boys kind of separate. They go their separate ways, and the biggest part is we find out like the lady who they were working with, the CIA agent, the president and the government are opening up basically almost like a Suicide Squad Task Force X for the boys to take down superhero threats as they arise, which to me is a brilliant way to keep the show going and also changes the direction completely.
Yes.
But
Because it doesn't always have to be with the 7. It could be some other people while the 7 are like trying to get their shit together. That could be a part
or destroying themselves from the inside.
Yeah, that could be a part of it, but it doesn't have to be the main thing. Like the boys could go take out this other corrupt place in some other place. Yeah, it could expand, which I'm liking.
But I think basically Newman, who blows heads up now, I think 2 things. One, yeah, she's doing political stuff. We see Huey apply for a job there.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be huge in season 3. I think that's going to be kind of like Huey's working with her is going to think that she is the greatest thing since sliced bread, right? Like she's going to be, oh, she's the future. She could be president.
And Billy's going to be like, hey, wait a minute, bro. She's evil.
No, Starlight.
Oh.
Because it's also going to be like, why do you think she's so great, Huey? Like a little bit of love triangle mixed in with there, just a sprinkle, like
I would
some
like
cinnamon.
that. I would like a little love triangle stuff.
Where like she's like, why do you think she's so great? And it's like she's doing it the right way, blah blah blah, and all this stuff. And Starlight doesn't really trust her, and then you have the realization like Starlight figures it out, and Huey maybe doesn't believe Starlight, and it causes some tension there. And then Huey has the revelation that she really gets whatever she wants, and nothing ever is in her way. People keep dying around her, like, and maybe Huey finds out, and Huey's a target. So I think that, and I also think she wants less superheroes, and she wants to be one of the only superheroes in a power within the superhero community and in the regular government scheme of things.
I think she also took Compound V as an adult.
Oh.
I think she took Compound V as an adult, and she was one of the few successes because
she would have the money and means.
She has the money and the means, and as a political figure, you say a tweet 7 years ago, that shit gets opened up. You're telling me that these people who took, the V, gave it to the kids, they're all pretty much, everybody knows about it, but she wasn't for some reason? I wonder why. It's because she got it when she was an adult. And I think that's going to touch back to the Sage facility and all this other stuff.
So no, you're saying like no one knows she's a
no one knows she's a super.
That would be an awesome angle too. I like that a lot.
I think nobody knows she's a super.
And they did it so well with how they ended episode 7, right? Where she's in there and you're like, oh my God, is her head going to explode? And she was the one actually doing it, like
right. So
that is nuts, and that's the biggest question into next season. I think it's going to have to be a coup, and also like I also think she's probably setting up her own quote unquote, like I don't use this term loosely, but cult. Maybe. Right? Maybe there's other supes that she has on retainer or working for her, and that system is weaving its way through the American government system.
Oh, I can see that. We saw the private sector, but now we can see it at the public sector.
Exactly. Cool. So that would be really interesting too. So I think for next season, as we're kind of already talking about possibilities and theories, I think one of the biggest things too is I think Billy's going to go down a really dark path. Like we're going to see, because it's almost like, somehow this show is in 2 seasons has topped itself double-fold. Mm-hmm. And now with the new direction, I think it's going to be interesting to see, which I want to see what you think too. Billy, I think with Becca dead, is going to throw himself into this, I'm just going to call it Task Force X at the moment, and throw himself into like just killing supes. I think our almost like the first shot of season 3 is just him in a montage killing random, bad superheroes. And he is just going down that Frank Castle path. I
could see that, but that's almost too easy. That's almost too easy for Butch. Yeah, because like we expect that, right? And this show,
or is he just going to be drunk in a saloon somewhere?
Yeah, this show is all about the unexpected and like more tragedy focused than badass focused, right? I see it's more likely with Butcher. We have 2 options. More likely, option 1, he's living a normal life and like actually has a home and trying to do like something in secret, like trying to rebuild himself for Becca and stuff like that in her honor and memory. Option
with his
2,
dog.
Yeah, with the dog, right? Option 2, he's drunk in a saloon somewhere where we fight him. I think.
But my thing is, why bring up? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I think it's more likely that MM of all people joins the task force and gets Butcher because they need Butcher. I think Frenchie. I think we're gonna see a small time skip. I mean, I like time skips, and I think it'll be good for this.
I think there'll be a time skip. Yeah.
I think we'll see Frenchie and MM try to bring Butcher back into this because they need Butcher's expertise because Huey's in danger. Because
I think it's the opposite.
That Huey's working with her.
So I think it's the opposite. I think because Frenchie, MM, and Huey technically got the happy endings at season 2. And season 2's trope was they needed Billy, right? Season 2 was we need to bring Billy back to have our leader, to have someone who has a plan. Because they were trying to do it by themselves and it just wasn't working.
Fair enough.
So I don't think they're going to do that again. I think you have to have someone in the task force, or otherwise why bring it up? Or why make it, right? And I think that's going to be Butcher, who's going around, and he's going to need them. When
like
MM...
Like season 1, we getting the boys
Yes, but different, right? Because MM is happy now. He's able to go back home. He had that discussion with the CIA lady, right? Where she's like, leave. This will never end. You're never going to get full revenge and justice for your father. You're never going to be happy. Just leave. And I think MM is okay now with being with his family. And I think Frenchie's trying to turn over a new leaf with Kimiko, and their relationship is starting to blossom into something else. And, he's like, let's just go dancing. Let's just do something fun where we don't have to think about this. And Butcher's the one kind of left, right? Because Huey's with Starlight. So Butcher is going to be the one in the task force who needs them to come back. And it's going to have to be like, listen, Starlight's going to go to Butcher and be like, Huey is in trouble. And we're forgetting one more character, but I want to see what you think first.
Who are we forgetting?
Wait, what? What
are you forgetting? No.
We are forgetting a huge thing that happened before the season started.
What?
And that is they casted Jensen Ackles from Supernatural for season 3.
They did.
And all signs point to him being a character called Soldier Boy. Not Soldier Boy, tell me how, why me up and why me no.
Soldier Boy, it's kind of like their Captain America.
Yes.
I remember them talking about Soldier Boy.
So Soldier Boy is a very interesting character.
But he's old,
in the
right?
book.
Like he's like, isn't he like from like, Stormfront's time, like when she first started?
Oh, I think so. He's a little after her.
Okay.
But I think in the world we live in and how this show has also kind of directly societalized itself.
Okay.
Right. It has some really great parallels with, social media and brainwashing and all that stuff. And I think Soldier Boy is going to be a huge faction taking over for Stormfront in this season in a way that you're going to see he's a superhero, he's a scumbag, but for the American people, he might be maybe an Iraqi war veteran.
Oh,
he may be like the new face of Vought.
He could
even be
somebody that was in the 7 and left, and now he's coming back to popularity because he's like, we had somebody talking about these ideas, and now she's gone. I need to be the champion of the people. I need to be the soldier for the people. Maybe. Well,
he's going to be very anti-Nazi. Right? Because we just found out she's a Nazi and Vought went into PR mode.
Mm-hmm.
And I think with Soldier Boy, you're going to get aspects of him and Homelander that you haven't seen yet.
Okay.
As well as some other things in other places. There's a place, I'm not even going to spoil it, but there's a place where the superheroes go on vacation where they can do whatever they want.
Oh!
Which I think was teased at the end with Homelander jerking off on top of a building. Trying to be like, I'm in control, I have control, and when he's losing his mind.
I thought he was just like in the top of the city, just like, I can do whatever I want.
No, he's lost his mind, right? Like,
yeah.
I think by the time we get to the end of the show, Homelander's going to snap in some way, where the vision we saw of him like burning people to death in the rally, it's going to be 10 times worse than that.
I think by the end of the show, before we wrap up this conversation, guys, my crazy idea, I think Huey's going to take Compound V by the end of the show, kill Stormlander. Oh,
Stormlander again?
I keep shipping them. He's gonna kill Homelander. That's what I think is gonna happen.
I think Billy has to be the one.
Nah, it's gonna be Huey. I think Butcher's gonna die. I think Butcher's gonna die. Gonna send Huey into a rage. Gonna take the Compound V, kill Homelander, and live happily ever after.
I think Billy's gonna. If he dies, he takes Homelander with him.
Probably.
And says the C word the way he magically does.
Oh, it's so bad.
The only person alive who can say that word.
That word is so bad, but he says.
It's poetic the way he says it. I'm sorry. It's just very interesting how he says.
Guys, that is our review on The Boys Season 2 finale. Thank you so much for watching. We want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below on your thoughts on Season 2 and your theories for Season 3.
And guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, like if you like the video. It really helps the channel out. Subscribe if you're new. Write in the comments below. Keep the conversation going about The Boys. Can't wait for Season 3. And I'm Chris Heller, and that is Rob Moran.
Before you guys go, there's our icon here to sub, and there's some more videos that you might like. Check it out.